Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Two Asian Blokes Podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, comic books, anime, music, food, video games, whatever we're feeling at the time. Really, my name is Dan with H. With me, as always, my co-host Tavi. Good morning, Tavi. Good morning, Internet.
Yes, good morning. It's a morning recording, so we should have more energy, which I think we do.
I feel like we do.
Yeah.
I'm eating breakfast right now, Tavi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm on the hot cross buns already.
Oh, hot cross buns.
Yeah, they started selling them from January. It's crazy. It's a good time to be alive.
Are you a hot cross bun fan? It's
I love hot cross buns.
For some reason, you don't strike me as a guy that likes hot cross buns.
You always assume I hate food, but I rarely do hate food. There's a lot of food that I like. Most food I like, I would say.
I don't know, man. Like, don't you hate carbs? Isn't hot cross bun just carbs?
It's true. I do
raisins?
prefer meat to carbs. That is true. However, yeah, I like hot cross buns. I can see where you're coming from because generally I don't dig on bread.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know. I make an exception for hot cross buns, I guess.
Do you just like the raisin ones?
I'm having an apple and cinnamon one right now.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, they're pretty good too. I think it's I like doughy textures. So mochi,
okay.
I also quite like. And bread that feels like mochi is something that I like.
Yeah.
I don't like dry, crusty bread. I think that's kind of where my dislike of bread in general came about. Because often when you go to a bakery and you get a pastry, it's all flaky and shit, and then it goes everywhere, and you're trying to eat it in the car, and then you get up out of your seat later, and or the crumbs are all over your car, and not a fan.
You're meant to enjoy. You're meant to sit down and enjoy and have a coffee and eavesdrop on people's conversation.
And then sometimes they're greasy. Sometimes you get one that's real greasy and it's permeating through the paper bag. Maybe I've just had low quality bread my whole life.
I don't know. I tend to enjoy not greasy bread, but I just like, croissants and more of those sort of dry, less doughy kinds of bread. I find breads that are too doughy, they taste stale to me. So I'm actually not a huge fan of hot cross buns. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't really like them. I think it was the raisins. But as, time grew on and now there's, better versions of hot cross buns, like the chocolate ones. And there's a Biscoff one, which I had last year.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it was just at Woolies. And I was like, oh, damn, this is one of the best hot cross buns I ever had. And I didn't even need to warm it up or anything. It was just there. Yeah.
And they're selling them earlier and earlier in the year as well. I don't know if this is just an Australian thing, but they used to only sell them during Easter time.
It's getting earlier because it's Christmas is over. Quick, consume something else. We need money.
Yeah, consumerism for the win. Love it.
It's just how when Halloween wasn't a thing in Australia. Now it's and it used to be oh, this is in America. This is Australia. Now it's oh, Halloween, quick, buy shit. And to be fair, I don't mind that. I like Halloween.
Yeah, I like how we have Halloween and Oktoberfest in Australia. So you get a choice on what to dress up as. You can dress up as a German, lederhosen wearing motherfucker, or you can dress up as Squid Game. You got two choices, Tavi. We have a big episode today, Tavi. Not as big as last week's, but still pretty big. We're talking about a couple of Japanese products. We got Rental Family and Scarlet. So live action thing and an anime thing.
I like how you use the word product.
Products when talking about. I know that's something you really enjoy.
Yeah, they're all just products. We don't make movies anymore.
Brendan Fraser, product.
Brendan Fraser, he's just AI. He'll be replaced pretty soon. All actors will be replaced, and then Tom Cruise can star in another 20 Mission Impossible movies because it won't be him doing the stunts anymore. And they won't make money, but it doesn't matter because it'll cost $10 to make anyway.
Yeah, that's the director's dream, Tavi, not having to deal with fucking actors anymore, isn't it?
Yeah, probably for shit directors, yeah, I guess.
George Lucas and James Cameron are just rubbing their hands together, waiting for the day.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Rental Family. Let's start with Rental Family, shall we?
Let's do that.
So, a little bit of background on Rental Family. This came out last year. Mm-hmm. We watched it pretty late last year. It's probably one of those movies that Australia got really late for some reason.
Avatar. It's because of Avatar.
Oh, yeah, because of Avatar. That's right.
There were no movies out when Avatar. Then once Avatar's buzz died down, there was a slew of movies that I wanted to go watch, and that's why I've been
I find
to the
that
cinema.
phenomenon really funny. Like, just every film is scared of Avatar for some reason because they keep making $2 billion for some reason, because people just won't show their films during the Avatar period, and the only option is to watch Avatar during Christmas.
And then there's nothing
It's a
else to
real
watch.
like chicken and egg situation going on there.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rental Family is directed by Hikari, who co-wrote it with Stephen Blahout. It stars Brendan Fraser as an American actor based in Japan who begins working for a rental family agency where he plays roles in the lives of strangers. Supporting cast includes Takehiro Hira, Mari Yamamoto, and Akira Emoto. So I I had heard about this film a while ago, Tavi, and I was like, at the time I was like, we should do a reaction to the to the trailer for this new Brendan Fraser movie, because it seems pretty relevant to us as people that have kind of lived a gaijin's life in Japan for a bit, and you're like, nah, fuck that. I hate Brendan Fraser. And I'm not talking about that shit.
I hated Brendan Fraser.
I hope he gets replaced by AI someday.
I had an inkling that it might have been about like rental families, but it's also, I don't know. I could have just assumed wrong, but I was like, why are we just randomly talking about some random Brendan Fraser movie? And then I didn't even watch the trailer until like maybe a couple months later. I was like, oh yeah, it's about like Japanese shit. So it was like, oh, I see why you recommended it to me. I watched this one on my own. I know I watched it with a few friends, but like, yeah. But I...
Did you have to rent those friends, Tavi?
Nah, I don't need to rent friends. I have too many friends.
Okay. Yeah.
I see a lot of videos about like the loneliness epidemic and whatever. And it's like, I don't really see that struggle. Surprisingly, especially for a creative introvert, I seem to... I mean, it sounds like I'm fucking sucking my own dick here, but that's all right. I guess you can suck your own dick sometimes. It's like, yeah,
sure.
I'm actually not really struggling for friends. I seem to have a lot, and I know probably a lot of people do tend to like message me at times, and then I'll be out doing something, and then I'll be like, I'll respond to that later, and then I just forget about it. So I've taken the surprisingly Japanese approach of unread texts for like a couple of days, maybe not weeks or months like Japanese people, but it takes it takes me a little while to respond to people, because sometimes I can't
got too
be
many
bothered.
friends, Tavi. You got too many friends, and you got all the listeners as well. They're our friends as well.
And then after this, you'll see like no one will message me ever again, and then I'll be like, I'm that guy. Yeah. And then I'll use Brendan Fraser's services, and I'll be, hey, Brendan, come over. He's like, I was just acting. He's like, you get over now. And it's just like,
Oh, yeah. By the way, Tavi says Brendan Fraser, like Fraser Crane, even though his name is Fraser. It's just something that happens. You guys can get used to it.
Oh, yeah. I don't care.
It's fine.
Potato, tomato,
Mongolian
tomato.
beef. Yeah.
All good.
It's all Mongolian
Just like,
beef.
yeah, it's all Mongolian beef.
But anyway, Rental Family. So, obviously this is focused a lot on the concept of a rental family, a place where you can rent actors essentially to just play people in your lives if you don't have that many people in your lives, which is fine, by the way. Like, it's fine to not have that many people in your life. I myself don't really have that many friends aside from my wife, who I think is my friend. But, so it's fine. Like, it's okay to be an introvert. It's okay to be lonely. And that's why these companies exist in Japan, a country that is notorious for having a lot of introverts.
Notorious for being lonely.
And they do actually exist. This is not a fictional thing.
The first time I'd seen this explored in a movie was the Werner Herzog movie, Family LLC, where it was more of a, I think it was in the style of like a mockumentary. And I really enjoyed that movie as well. That was very much guerrilla shooting. I think I've mentioned it once in this podcast. There's a scene where two of the actors meet on a Shinkansen platform. And I remember watching Werner sort of talk about the way they shot that scene. They basically got one cameraman and I think two lapels. And then it's just like, okay, just quickly meet here and then scatter. So the two actors were just like go and perform their lines in like a two shot.
Yeah.
And then I think Werner or someone would spot the the guards or the security coming. It's like, okay, quick, they're coming, let's go. And then they would just scramble and just sort of like lose them in a crowd. And it's quite funny. I think they maybe did like one or two takes before security came. So yeah, even an old legend like Werner is doing guerrilla filmmaking, but
they're pretty strict about filming in Japan. I don't know if this is still the case, but yeah, definitely in the past.
I think in Tokyo, I think most of the stuff we see is not shot in Tokyo. It's just in other parts of Japan, which are maybe a bit more lax because it's not. I feel like I'm not sure now because of all the influences, but Japan doesn't seem like they would really care that much about people just filming stuff in public. Yeah.
Cut to that clip of that streamer getting punched in the back of the head.
Yeah. Well, that's a particular area of Japan. Yeah. That's funny, that clip. Like he gets knocked in the back of the head. And then he's just suddenly Japanese. He's just speaking Japanese. And one of the comments is like, "Bro got knocked so hard he turned Japanese," and it was really funny.
Shinjuku de.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. But I guess we're sort of getting away from the topic a bit. But yeah, Rental Family was quite a surprise. When I saw the trailer, it looked good. And I like the depiction of Japan, especially from an American film, because the way that Americans sort of depict Japan and Japanese depict Japan is very different. America is very much stylish. Whenever I think of American representation of Japan, it's very much like neon lit, and there's like ninjas somewhere. And then, it's all
so like Lost in Translation.
Lost in Translation is probably one of the more close depictions, but that was still Japanese people didn't really like it because it still sort of depicted them as sort of less than like the main characters.
We're talking more about like movies like Kate and Bullet Train, I guess.
I liked
the
Kate.
hyper stylized.
I didn't like Bullet Train, but I like Kate. But
but it's got the similar vibe, right? The neon-soaked city aspect of Japan, which is true in some respect, but it's only one aspect of Japan. Like Japan has a lot of shit going on. They got countryside, they got mountains and shit, which are all quieter and more subdued. And even within Tokyo, there are quieter areas as well.
Yeah.
And I like Tokyo because it feels very noisy, but at the same time, it's quite introspective, I guess, in a way.
Yeah. And I think this movie's look captures it. I thought the trailer made the movie look a bit more saccharine. Like it looked quite commercial. But upon watching the movie, I was quite surprised by how subdued it was at times. And also how much it pays attention to the other characters that are a part of Brendan Fraser's journey. What's his name? Philip.
Yeah.
And even Philip's character as well is very much the gaijin that's lived in Japan for a little while.
He's spot on, right? He's totally spot on. He can speak language. He can speak the language a bit, but people still revert to English if they can around him. He knows like pretty much all the customs. Like he knows when to bow and when to be quiet and stuff. Like he's trying his best to fit in, even though he's a big white guy.
Yeah. And I was surprised at the lack of like white characters in this movie, which was refreshing because I know, again, in American films set in Japan, they never really have the main centers as Asians. It's often they have to shoe in some, white or black guy or Hispanic guy to sort of be like, audiences can't connect with Asian people, so we gotta
have Blackthorn running around. Like, what is this? This is preposterous. It's not proper.
And
have one of those guys,
or Bow Wow just being in Tokyo Drift.
Yep.
But I was actually quite surprised by this movie. It is probably a bit more on the emotional side in a more telegraphed sense, but I think Hikari, who is, I believe, an American-Japanese director, captured Japan quite authentically. Again, it's with the sort of muted colors, sort of the white, bluish highlights and midtones. This is sort of how I usually see Japan going over there, where it is a busy city, but it's also quite quiet. And there's just a big sense of melancholia that goes around Japan. I often talk about that's just how Japan sort of feels, rather than it being like bright and I guess, drug-filled or neon-lit as some of the more grimy
Yeah.
Japanese films. But this is sort of the truest everyday life of a Japanese person, whether or not you're a gaijin or, a Japanese person. So, I was surprised by this movie because I thought I wasn't going to like it. I thought it was going to be a bit too
Hollywood maybe.
Yeah. But no, it's surprisingly, I think about 50% of the dialogue is like English,
I think
Japanese.
it strikes a pretty good balance, Like, it is pretty Hollywood at times in terms of its storytelling.
Yeah.
But, I think the vibe of it is there. Like, it's not quite as inactive, I guess, as something like Perfect Days.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot more happening because there are a lot more characters and stuff, and they all kind of have their own stories going on. But at the same time, it's not like Bullet Train or anything like that.
Where the entire cast is like non-Japanese, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a stereotype, I guess, is what the gist of it is. I really love the use of colors as well in this. It really creates that atmosphere. And it's kind of used to tell Brendan Fraser's character's story as well a bit. Like, I think at the start, you've kind of got the bluer tones to kind of showcase his loneliness. Because he is a pretty lonely person. Like, he's living in this massive city, but at the same time, he has to rely on, like, paid love, I guess.
Yeah.
So you do kind of feel that loneliness in his character, but then when he meets the character. So, I mean, this is not a spoiler. It is in the trailers, but like basically he is hired by a single mum who's trying to get her daughter into a prestigious school. But in order to do that, she needs someone to pretend to be her daughter's father. So that's where Brendan Fraser's character comes in. He's hired to pretend to be this daughter's father. And for added dramatic effect, the mum thinks it's a good idea to not tell the girl what's happening and to instead just pretend that Brendan Fraser's character is her father. So, that's kind of like the emotional crux of his story.
Yeah.
Like, he's conflicted because what they're doing is essentially deceiving this daughter, whose name is Mia, played by Shannon Mahina Gorman. But then when she comes into Philip's life, like, the tones start to get a bit warmer because, he's found, like, a real connection.
Yeah.
So that, pretty cool.
So it's pretty like predictable, but I think because it's quite earnest in its portrayal, and I think the acting overall is pretty good. So you're still invested, I think, because a lot of Japanese storytelling, surprisingly, is quite predictable. But I think it's with its execution is where some of it shines. But there's another subplot that involves Philip and like a retired director or something.
Or actor. Yeah, so that's the character of Kikuo, who's played by Akira Emoto.
Yeah, so that is sort of quite independent of the storyline between Philip and his pretend daughter, Mia. But it seems like it focuses more on the actor than Brendan Fraser himself. But it still ties into the overall spine of the story. And I think it's quite well done because it's hard to do these sort of subplot stories and then still sort of tie it in, because quite often if you're not careful, it can feel like it's two different stories rather than a cohesive piece.
There are more than these two stories as well going on in the film, though. There's also like Aiko, played by Mari Yamamoto. She's an employee of the rental family company, and she's got her own plot line going on where she at the start of the movie, she's quite invested in the company because she feels like the cause of giving people a genuine, quote unquote, genuine connection to somebody by pretending to play this part. That's a just cause. But then throughout the film, she starts to see the flaws in that system. And we've also got the owner of the rental family company, Shinji, played by Takehiro Hira, speaking of Shogun. But he has his own kind of journey as the owner of this company. So, like, you get a few plot lines. And throughout that as well, you've got, like, tiny little subplots of Philip interacting or pretending to be characters in people's lives. So he, like, makes a connection with this kind of shut-in otaku character. He helps a woman at the start get married so that she can elope with her true lover. So you've got all of these little subplots as well. But yeah, certainly Philip and Mia's story, as well as Philip and Kikuo's story, kind of take the spotlight. I'm not sure how I feel about Kikuo's story, to be honest. I feel like it may have been one too many elements in the movie. Probably would have preferred to focus on Mia a bit as the main... Because I don't... Yeah, I know you said it kind of ties in, but I feel like it didn't tie in enough. Like, the two stories weren't connected enough thematically to make it very satisfying. And yeah, it just didn't hit me that hard, Kikuo's story. And that's unusual because...
Yeah, you love old people.
Yeah, usually the old people get me teared up. But Kikuo wasn't really doing it for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think it was balanced enough. And I think I've seen that story before with Mia. That's basically the family LLC story. So it didn't bother me too much. I think it's better to see maybe two stories because it sort of shows the scope of his job. But I didn't have an issue. I quite enjoyed Kikuo's story. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not sure if I got completely emotional by the end of this movie. Not like some of the people in your theater.
Yeah, the guy next to me is just weeping openly at times. He's just like, oh, I'm sorry. His wife's trying to console him and shit. Yeah, that's the kind of movie this is. It does get you emotional. Yeah, I teared up at a couple of points.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is quite an emotion-filled journey.
I think so. It's definitely a film that you can watch with your family. It's got some pretty nice themes. It's sort of a stepping stone into watching some more, I guess, nuanced cinema, and also for people who want to see a more authentically portrayed Japan. It does still feel quite Hollywood at times.
I would liken it to How to Make Millions Before My Grandma Dies.
Yeah.
It's kind of that emotional level, that kind of nuance. It's like still a little bit Hollywood, but it's kind of more deeply rooted in the cinema of its origin, Japanese cinema or Thai cinema in the case of Lan Ma.
Yeah.
And it's not super heavy either, and it's not super melodramatic. It's kind of a bit more subdued.
Yeah. Speaking of, I don't know. I think I actually prefer this movie over Lan Ma. Like, on retrospective, Lan Ma is a good movie, but somehow I think it's just a little bit overrated. I'm not sure if I'm just being contrarian.
Okay.
It just seemed like that movie, even though it showcases Thailand very, very well and very, very authentically, its storytelling was a bit too on the nose somehow for me, a bit too Hollywood, and it seemed like it was just... Yeah, I mean, it was sad, but I was like, oh, yeah. Like, I don't know. It just didn't hit me as much, even though there's some very good filmmaking. It just, I don't know, was a bit...
Maybe it was the performances, Tab.
No, the performances were all right. It just, I don't know. Just
they're all right, but they're no Brendan Fraser.
No, it's not Brendan
Something
Fraser.
about Brendan Fraser that, really tugs on your heartstrings.
I guess even though I am sort of Thai origin and have more blood within Thailand, I probably... And I'm sorry, Tor, if there's any of my Thai family listening to this, I do prefer Japan over Thailand. Let's not mince words here as well, It's just...
Well, you've spent more time in Japan than in Thailand, right?
Yeah. Thailand...
So it does make sense.
...would be too hot for me now to live. It's just it'll be too hot and it's not easy to get around and I'll just be tired all the time.
Yeah.
It's definitely cheaper than Japan. Oh, actually, I don't know. Thailand can be quite expensive. It depends on where you go. I think I've got about this before. Wherever that place was, whatever beach we went to, best fried rice I ever had in my life. There's that seafood fried rice. God damn, balls.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. It was so good.
They got good food in Thailand.
They got really good street food in Thailand. Yeah, you can't go to a shopping center. It has to be the risk-filled street food. where all the best stuff is. Yeah, it's good shit.
Good shit. And so is Rental Family. Rental Family is pretty good shit, I would say. If you have any kind of connection to Japan, you'll definitely like it. And if you like kind of subdued emotional journeys, you'll probably like it as well.
Yeah.
It's good.
And it's funny because with Brendan Fraser's performance, it was also, I guess it's because of the movie, it's quite subdued as well. And it was sort of like a bit of a contrast because the last movie I saw Brendan Fraser in was Killers of a Flower Moon. And he's just like super over the top. Like, you silly boy. I'm like, what are you what are you doing, Brendan? You just won an Oscar, and then
I think he was trying to match everyone else's energy in that movie.
Yeah,
I think that's what happened there.
Maybe.
How do you feel about the resolution of the film, though? Because I know you have a thing about like white savior and like the Western mentality is always correct kind of vibe in a lot of films.
Yeah.
In this film, I mean, this is a spoiler, by the way, but basically through Philip's actions, everybody in the rental family just realizes that what they're doing is wrong. And they still keep the company running at the end, but they don't pretend to be people without the knowledge of the participants, basically, is the compromise that they reach. Because of Brendan Fraser, the white savior.
Yeah. To be honest, it didn't really bother me that much because it would throw off the tone of the movie. I didn't really notice the white savior complex as much in this movie. Maybe because I like Brendan Fraser more. And
well, he didn't have like a impassioned speech where he's telling everybody
like,
that what they're doing
what
is
are you
wrong.
doing is wrong.
He just goes to jail for a bit, basically. And they're like, shit, maybe we've gone too far.
Yeah. And it is sort of in a sense that it's authentic to maybe it is Hikari playing to both sentimentalities. Like she is a Westerner. Actually, I don't know if she grew up in the States. It feels authentic, so it doesn't feel like it is just shoved in as much. I think it doesn't bother me because I like the movie, I guess. Like, you know, for Crazy Rich Asians, for example, like I hated that movie. So when that ending sort of came up, it was a bit more like, the white way is the better way. And it just really irked me. So, no, it didn't bother me too much. But I don't know, what did you think of it? Do you think it was sort of like a little less...
I noticed it.
Yeah.
But... yeah, like it didn't bother me either. Yeah. And I mean, it's fine as long as it's handled well. And I think it's handled pretty well in this.
It's not like they made like Brendan Fraser the CEO or anything. And then he's like, we're going to run the company my way. No overtime and everyone finishes work at 5.
Yeah.
And you don't have to come drinking with me at the end. You can go home and meet your family.
Oh, you're sick, are you? Yeah, you can take sick leave. That's your right.
You can take 2 days off for mental health leave as well. So don't worry.
Hey guys, I'm going to stay in the office, but you guys can go because it's past 5. It's fine. You don't have to wait for me to finish work. That's fine. This is the white way to do things.
Yeah. The white way is the right way.
Yes. That's the new slogan for Rental Family. We love you, Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
All right, shall we move it along?
Yes, let's move it on to the main course, I guess. Yeah.
This is Scarlet.
Yep.
So apparently this is a 2025 film as well, even though it just came out in Australia at time of recording. So this is an animated fantasy action film written and directed by Mamoru Hosoda, a name that I really have trouble pronouncing.
Really? Mamoru Hosoda?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I just find it a mouthful, that's all.
Really?
Mamoru
It's
Hosoda.
Hosoda. It's just Hosoda, right? Mamoru Hosoda?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's something about
really? that
arrangement of syllables that is hard for me to say. But anyway, it is animated by his studio Chizu. You might know him from works such as Wolf Children, Girl Who Leapt Through Time, Belle. We covered Belle in this podcast back in the day. This is...
Back in the day, like what, 2 years ago, last year? Or...
Back in the day, Tavi. I think it's like 3 years ago now, I reckon.
I guess so. I guess by Gen Z or Gen Alpha standard, that's like, caveman era. That is like the discovery of fire era.
But no, Scarlet is a more recent film. So it's pretty much Hamlet, I guess. It's inspired by Hamlet. Scarlet, she's a medieval era sword fighting princess from Denmark. She tries to avenge the death of her father by killing her uncle. But before she does that, she is poisoned by her uncle and ends up in like a limbo kind of situation in this place between life and death.
And time.
Luckily for her, her uncle also ends up there. So she again embarks on her quest to kill her uncle, but this time she's in limbo and trying to do it.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
I really like the premise of this movie. It is very much a Hosoda trope.
pink-haired heroine.
No, just like the exploration of traveling through time and transitions, you know, the girl that leapt through time and other worlds, parallel worlds. So Summer Wars and Belle's is the digital world, where this one is more of a sort of an abstract limbo, like liminal space. But he uses this trope a lot, and he uses the animation to depict the different worlds. When you see Scarlet in the traditional sort of Denmark era, it is regular 2D animation, whereas the Limbo world is that sort of half 3D rendered 2D world.
CGI blend.
And he's explored that in Belle as well. But this one uses that technology a lot more. We've seen it in Slam Dunk as well.
Spriggan.
Yes. Oh, yes, Spriggan, yes. Maybe Spriggan to a less successful attempt, but we've seen it. But yeah, I really like Hosoda. I think he's underrated. He often cops a lot of slack for his movies. I think I really liked Belle a lot, but it was not that well received. And I'd heard about this movie in production for a little while. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh yeah, it looks all right. It's very much different to Belle. It is more in line with, I guess, like a medieval. And I can't believe I was making this comparison, but it's like sort of reminded me of that Lord of the Rings one a little bit. That sort of scenery.
Oh, the war,
Rohirrim
or whatever.
Yeah. I was sort of like, oh, is it going to be this kind of movie where it's like, you know?
And it is at parts.
Yeah,
it is sometimes. Yeah, but I think like the animation is way better.
It's got
helps
budget.
a lot.
It's definitely a lot better. But yeah, Scarlet is an interesting one because there are parts of this movie, maybe towards the first half, that really lost me, and I was almost on board to not liking this movie. But then there was a part where I think more on the second act of the film, there are some really strong visuals and some really bold choices where it really got me back on board.
You're talking about the dance sequence, Tavi?
Yeah, there is a dance sequence that
the Sinners style dance sequence through space and time.
That's kind of like a thing now. You know, it's just like everyone would say Sinners did it first, but this is probably being made.
Yeah, I mean that scene was pretty fun.
Yeah, and I usually don't like musicals, but that sequence really drew me back in. But then I don't know, the rest of the mood of the movie was less about revenge and sort of a bit more introspective. And I don't know, it sort of drew me back in. I think this movie, it's a really, really ambitious vision.
Yeah, okay.
And there might have been a lot, maybe too much going on. But I think what really drew me back in is just, I think there's a soul in this movie, you know. I think maybe Hosoda, he was trying to tell a particular kind of story. And I'm not sure if it entirely succeeded. I think some of the messaging in this movie is a bit heavy-handed because
and a bit confused, I reckon.
Yeah.
Some of it.
One of the characters, there's like, because the Scarlet, she comes across this like medic
who is from modern times.
Yes. And I couldn't stand him at the start. I was just like, oh, this fucking guy. Like
he is there to be like the naive, like you don't have to fight people kind of character, which is a pretty annoying character trope.
It was sort of like
from the
too
get-go.
much. Yeah, it reminds me. I'm not sure if you heard anything about Monster Hunter Wilds, but there's like this kid who you come across, and then that whole plot line is you got to kill this monster or something. This big bad, like all Monster Hunter stories, is a big bad and he's fucking up the ecosystem. But us as humans seem to have a right to just kill monsters when we want. But then this kid is sort of like, oh no, don't hurt him. Like he's just like me. And like, kid, he killed your family.
Do you know what game you're in, kid? This game is called Monster Hunter. It's not called Monster Hugger.
I mean, spoilers. You kill the monster, and then the kid just likes you again anyway. Because it's Monster Hunter. But like, this guy kept jumping, because there's bits where Scarlet is fighting soldiers from, I guess, the remnants of the king, Claudius.
The Danish kingdom.
Who is played by Koji Yakusho, which I kind of forgot.
Oh, yeah.
So because Koji Yakusho does.
Yeah, okay, I can totally see that now.
He goes pretty ham in this movie, especially at the end, where it's just like, This is like classic Koji Yakusho, because you probably sort of more know him as the very introspective, quiet, perfect days, Koji Yakusho. But Koji Yakusho is like an overactor. He's just yelling. He yells at people a lot in his career and loses his shit. And he does that a fair bit.
Watch Cure if you haven't seen it already.
Yeah. And he's worked with Hosoda before in The Boy and the Beast, which is one of Hosoda's more favored movies. But I just couldn't stand this character at first.
We might talk about him a bit more in spoilers. I think. But he is pretty annoying throughout the course of the film.
No, don't hurt him. Don't kill him. Like, the guy's gonna kill me. He is trying to kill me.
Get out of the way.
and like, I get, I mean, what's that Andrew Garfield movie, the Hacksaw Ridge, where there are, instances and stories of conscientious objectors who joined war as medics and don't want to kill anyone. I get it. Yeah. But in this movie, it's like, you're mending enemies and stuff. It's a bit naive. That's not really the way the world works. If you do that, they'll just kill you. It's like, oh, thanks for the win.
They didn't, Tavi. They became their friends at the end. Spoiler alert. But no, like it is extra annoying as well because it's set up as like a revenge film. You get a whole training montage of Scarlet becoming a badass, right? And then like you got some really excellent fight scenes in the top end of the movie. But then this guy comes in and he like puts an end to that pretty much. It's like, nah, no more fighting on my watch.
Stop. Love and peace. Love and peace. So, and it's like, get out of the way. He's gonna kill you, and he gets shot, doesn't he, by someone? He gets stabbed.
We'll talk about it. But no, I think that's kind of where this movie lost me a bit. And I know this is the story that he wants to tell, right? It's like kind of about, I guess, the vicious cycle of revenge and trying to overcome that, right?
Yeah.
Through peace and harmony and whatnot, which I don't know if that fits with the Hamlet kind of influence. I'm pretty sure it's funny because in Hamlet, like the dad is like, you gotta avenge me, Hamlet, like kill my brother. But in this movie, the dad is like, peace and love, everybody, peace and love, forgiveness. So, but again, that is the story he wants to tell. But man, I would have loved it if it was just a straight up revenge film.
I think that was the thing that led it. It's just, I don't know, because I just come off watching the fucking Vengeance trilogy from Park Chan-wook, where it sort of delves into the nuance of revenge. Whereas, revenge is, the cycle of revenge and such. But, I mean, man, would it feel good if you could just kill Claudius? I think the story that he's trying to tell is just a bit too idealistic. I don't know. It's a bit naive.
That's kind of his thing as well. I think it is ramped up a bit in this film particularly. But he's always been more on the optimistic side of storytelling. And like, which is fine. Like that is fine.
His movies aren't dark. They are designed to be like crowd pleasers, and I get that as well. And even Belle was a bit more of a crowd pleaser too. But I think Belle weaved it in better because Belle wasn't a revenge story. It was a coming-of-age story.
It's a love story.
And that's what really drew me in with Belle. But this one, it sort of was like, I wanted to just train and just kill this guy. It would be quite fun.
Man, it gets you pumped up at the start for some revenge. But then it's like, it really takes a turn. Which we'll get into in spoilers. But before we get into spoilers, do you have any broad advice for people that are maybe thinking about watching this movie?
If you're trying to get into Hosoda movies, I wouldn't start off with this one. I would watch Girl That Leapt Through Time. His classics are Girl That Leapt Through Time, Wolf Children, probably Boy and the Beast, and then probably Belle. I think, honestly, this one, Scarlet ranks quite low, I think, in Hosoda's library. But by the time this episode comes out, I'm not sure if it would be too late. But watch this on a big screen. I think it hit quite hard because I watched this on IMAX and the sound design and the scope and scale of it is felt a lot more with just the big picture and the sound. And I think that really helped elevate the movie for me. It's not the strongest story, but I would advise people to just get lost in the atmosphere and be open-minded, because I think by the end of this movie, I still liked it and I was rewarded, and it was still surprisingly emotional as well. I was like, I'm actually feeling something, even though the writing is not the strongest in this one. I think, but for me, again, it's just the anime medium just gets me. It just feels a lot more vivid.
Yeah, it's the dressing of it.
Yeah,
right? It's an okay story, but dressed up in like the most beautiful package you could probably render.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's really fantastically animated. Even though I'm not sure exactly how I feel about 2D, 3D CGI sort of story.
That blend.
Yeah. But it worked in Slam Dunk. But I think Slam Dunk was just, it had me pumped, and I think the story is better. So I don't think it's really the animation.
There's a time and place, I think, for it.
Yeah. I know. What about you?
I didn't really like it that much. I was a little bit bored throughout it. Yeah, I think it's funny because I watched this with my wife, right? And we were two of the only three people in the cinema. So it was us and like one other guy in the back. And like during a lot of the quieter moments, I could just hear this guy like heavy sighing throughout the film. So maybe that kind of killed the vibe for me.
You need to watch these movies with like, I'm not saying this about your wife, but just like a better audience. I watched my screening. It wasn't packed, but there was, more than 20 people at least, I think. Yeah. It was
I would prefer to watch these films on my own, to be honest. With my wife, but no other people in the theater, right? Because all it takes is one guy just going to like really kill like a moment.
Man, what's wrong with you Sydney people, man? Like you seem to have like the worst audience, you know? Like I think the people in my theater quite enjoyed this movie. I
think it's because I live in the city, Tavi. You know?
I watched this movie in the city.
You get all sorts in the city.
I watched this at Hoyts. And people, it's Melbourne, man. We're the arts city, you know. We actually enjoy our art, you know. We're not just there to just be like, oh, why am I spending my money? Man, like if you're gonna sit there and be like a sourpuss, just fucking don't even bother going, man.
Look, I don't know if he was being sour on it or maybe he was just just reacting in his own way. But yeah, to me it was kind of funny.
But, you don't need to. I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit selfish, to be honest. Because I've talked about like the cinema experience, and I hear a lot of people don't really like it these days. And I think when I watch movies in Melbourne, I often have very, very positive experiences. But I think that is just the movies that I see and the times that I go to the movies. It's definitely when I've watched movies like The Meg 2 or stuff like that on a opening day. It's when I usually get like, you know, the scraps of society just spending an afternoon seeing a Jason Statham build movie, but then bored and scrolling through their phones. Or even like Mission Impossible, the latest one where this one girl is just on a phone the whole time. And I just wanted to be like, just get off your phone and watch the damn movie.
Why did you come here? Cinema movie tickets aren't that cheap either.
I'm probably dragged by a boyfriend, yeah. To be fair, I'd be on my phone if I was dragged to a Taylor Swift concert movie. But I wouldn't be. But anyway.
Anyway, shall we talk spoilers?
Yeah, let's do it.
So Scarlet meets this guy, this paramedic guy who is in limbo. He refuses to believe that he's dead, even though he clearly died. So this guy's whole deal is that he's a pacifist. And he's kind of like the guy that's pushing the overarching message of this film. Peace and love and forgiveness rather than revenge, whatnot. Which really puts a dampener on the whole setup of the first, not the first act, but the first 10 minutes maybe of the film.
Yeah.
Is like, it's basically Hamlet, but with a girl with pink hair. And you see her training montage, you see like her learning how to fight, you see her progression from like timid little princess to a real badass.
Yeah.
And then she gets killed with poison.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's so predictable as well.
Yeah. And that's fine. Like she gets sent to limbo and all of the visuals like around that is really cool. Like I like the representation of limbo, how it's basically just looks like Dune. The mechanics of the world it doesn't really make sense, but that didn't really bother me that much. How do you feel about her being in limbo but still having to drink and eat? And if she gets killed, she'll turn to dust.
Yeah. No, I don't think it bothered me because it's just sort of like soft world building. Yeah. It happens a lot in these sort of Japanese films where they don't really explain the world. It is just, you still
unexplained
need to live.
mysticism kind of thing.
I think I almost prefer it that way, where it's just that's just the way it works. Like, you still got to eat. Like, people aren't really surprised that they're just meeting people from other universes.
There are horses there and camels there for some reason.
Yeah, but there's not, I guess, like, he's the only modern guy that's there, because maybe everyone
that we know of.
Yeah, because currently in this day and age, people are either, like, in terms of your morality, it's black or white. So you just go to heaven or hell. Either way.
I reckon the people probably just got dusted straight away. They wouldn't survive a day in limbo.
Because they don't have survival skills.
Like, I can't get reception here. Just die of thirst.
Just die. You get bitten by, just get mobbed by some Mongolians, and then that's it. You can't do it. There we go. That's the mystery solved.
Whereas he at least has like a paramedic's kit with him, because when you die, you get sent there with all your possessions or something, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that it's kind of a realm that is connected through space and time, that doesn't really make sense either, because she dies, right? Gets into this limbo.
Yeah.
And then she finds out that the king is also there because he also died at some point after she died. But because it's connected through time.
It explains at the end a bit.
He's there. But also, like, he's waiting for his wife, who is the queen, like a Lady Macbeth situation. But also, like, wouldn't she be there as well? Because even if she died, like, years later, she should still be there in theory.
That plot that's not really explored that much.
You're not really meant to think about it that much, right?
No, I think it was just too... that's what I mean by there's probably too much going on, and it was just too ambitious. I think this script needed more editing and more drafts, because there was just too much. The whole waiting for his wife was not needed.
It's pretty funny at the end, though. When she goes back to the room. It's pretty really funny.
Yeah, everyone sort of chuckled in my theater when that happened as well. Now, we'll talk about it a bit later. There's just a bit too much going on, and it really sort of bogged the movie down. And I did like the Dune looking universe at first, but it gets a bit boring after a while, because it's just just sand and dust after a bit. So it's sort of much easier to animate, I think, as well. So I'm not sure whether this is just them trying to save time, but the visuals were sort of starting to lack a bit. Like, there's some pretty cool fight scenes, and even though she's sort of trained to be a badass, she is very much vulnerable in this movie. She gets her ass kicked a lot in this movie. So she cops it a fair bit. The medic guy patches her up. But it's sort of, I don't know, the connection between Belle and Hijiri is the medic's name. It was sort of undercooked.
Scarlet. I mean, Scarlet is basically Belle by design.
Belle, Scarlet, whatever. He does like those characters. Female. He likes writing female protagonists a lot, Hosoda. But it was just a bit underdeveloped, because it's sort of bogged down. It's bogged down by the revenge story, then bogged down by the message. It was a bit too much at the start. And
also, he contradicts his own message, this Hijiri character, right? Because he's like a pacifist, all about peace and love. But he'll fucking arrow a guy if he needs to.
Yeah, he did by the end. I think they were trying to set up an arc where maybe violence is necessary at some point, because he does arrow a guy. He kills a guy. And I was like, I'm not sure if that was earned enough, because there wasn't enough of a transition or enough of a reason for him to suddenly turn and want to kill people. It's just like, maybe I should kill this guy.
An old lady tells him to. So
the old lady's like, actually, like, just kill him. She's gonna die if you don't kill this dude. It's like, okay. It's like, fine. I won't heal him. I'll just kill him.
They missed an opportunity to kind of tie that into the way he's killed as well. Because basically the way he's killed is he's in Tokyo, presumably modern day Tokyo, and like he sees a bunch of kids walking down the street, and then a guy with a knife kind of lunges at them or something, and he steps in the way.
Covered in
so
blood.
he's killed protecting kids.
Yeah.
So like I don't know how they could have tied it to that, but like I feel like there is some kind of connective tissue where sometimes you have to take action to protect something or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. I do have to appreciate Hosoda going into some glimpses of some very dark places of humanity, like in his film. And I think this is what separates this kind of, I guess it is this sort of idealistic, like Disney story. But Disney is way too afraid to show any semblance of violence or any semblance of nuance involving darker side of humanity, where I wouldn't categorize Scarlet as a kid's film. It's an M-rated film. But even in Belle, it does tackle some heavy themes, or it does depict that there's some deplorable shit that humans are capable of, and it's not sugarcoating it too much, because the imagery is quite striking, because he's in Tokyo and he's like the only one that's colored and everything's sort of washed out. But then he sees the kids, and then he sees this guy. He's not just carrying a knife, he's covered in blood. So this is assuming that he has murdered someone else, and assuming that his target is kids, he has probably stabbed kids. And this is a very Japanese crime.
It is.
Japan,
every time in an anime where they need to put somebody in limbo, they've always been stabbed by a random guy.
But this is the kind of crime that happens in Japan. Again, because Japan is easily one of the safest countries in the world. But anyone that does crime is like the most degenerate person and does the worst kind of crime possible. So this is like the reality of it, where sometimes you can't just be good to everyone, So I think there is a missed opportunity, and it's a fine line to balance between justifying taking action, I suppose, because you can obviously misconstrue it. This is where you talk about the assassination on presidents and that kind of thing. Is that taking it too far? So
depends on the president, I'd say.
Yeah.
Not that I'm justifying radical action. Don't come at me, FBI, please.
ICE comes knocking on your door, even though they've got no jurisdiction in Australia. They just come anyway.
What is their jurisdiction anyway?
That's true. They just do whatever they want. But and I think that could have been a very interesting arc, but it's just mixed in with other shit.
Yeah, it doesn't quite connect. I can see your criticism on the world building as well, because it is interesting, but it doesn't look all that interesting, this limbo world. It's different to Belle, because Belle is like, there are scenes set in the real world where it is kind of 2D animated, and because she lives in the countryside as well, there's a real juxtaposition when it shifts to the digital world, because the digital world is so vibrant and there's so much going on there. It's so populated. But in this one, it goes from medieval Denmark to Dune. It's like it just stays in Dune.
You just start seeing Fremen jumping around. But the difference with Belle is there's a good balance of the digital world and the real world. And that's not to say that the real world in Belle is, not vibrant. There's so much detail in the little things in the real world in Belle. And that's why I love 2D animation so much, because you can just really handcraft these little small details. Whereas, it's just them traipsing through this desert and then coming across this tribe of people. And there's 2 dance sequences in this movie. The first dance sequence, I fucking hate it. It's just like...
The hula one?
The hula one. I didn't like that. I was like, oh, can we just get this movie going along? Like, it just seemed like the... Like,
that was probably one of the heavy sigh times, Tommy.
Yeah, maybe. Because there's so much in this movie already, and then there's time for this dance sequence. And it's sort of not that well animated. Because it's supposed to look like that Hijiri is not a great dancer. And they all just sort of berating him as well. That's pretty mean. Like, the guy just saved your life. But he's just like, hey, you're a fucking shit dancer, Hijiri. He's like, yeah.
Get out the way.
Get out of here. Like, get out the way. It's like, let us do it, you fucking weirdo. And then he's like, oh, it's huge.
But it's meant to be heartwarming.
It's meant to be heartwarming.
Entire scene is meant to be a justification for Hijiri's stance.
Yeah,
right?
it goes on for so long.
He heals them all. He wins them over, you know. Even though they're making fun of his dancing, they still like him better than they like Scarlet, you know.
Yeah. But there's another dance sequence that comes completely out of nowhere. So I forgot the context of it, but I think they're just resting. And then Scarlet sort of has a dream.
Hijiri's playing the guitar, the lute.
And it goes in. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's playing like a modern day song. Well, I'm not sure if it's, I think it might have been a song written for the movie, but she goes into like full on like Gaspar Noé, like Into the Void. And it's just all this psychedelic kaleidoscope colors. And then there's this really grand scale dance sequence of a modern day Scarlet with Hijiri. And it's just a musical sequence. And then at first it was so jarring at first because I was like, what is this? But it was just so vibrant in its
it is uplifting
depiction. And I think this is like the only one that you needed because it's uplifting and it sort of shows like, I'm not sure whether it fit narratively into the story because it's sort of showing like a life that Scarlet could have had, but she can't because she's in medieval, Denmark.
Yeah.
But just as a spectacle...
It shows a life where Hijiri is a good dancer.
Yeah, but there's probably a point to the scene, but just as a pure spectacle, I somehow just really enjoyed it. I think this actually might have been my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very full of life. And I don't know if you're supposed to analyze it that much, to be honest. I think it's, again, that unexplained mysticism where, like this is what could have been. Is it Scarlet? Is it a dream from Scarlet, or is it a reality somewhere in the universe?
It's like Hosoda, I just watched Sinners. Let's put this in the movie. It's like, oh, come on. We've already got so many stories to tell. I was like, you animate this now. And it's like, oh, okay. Even though I think the movie was already finished by then. But yeah, maybe they did reshoots. What's the animation equivalent?
They just knocked it out in a day. A day of crunch.
Yeah. But no, it's just really fun. And it just reminds me of some of the musical sequences in Belle, because Belle was the first of Hosoda's movies to really introduce a musical element. So, it was very enjoyable. And I think from
it's
this
very
point...
pleasant. It's like the World Cup, Tavi. I was like, when I was watching that scene, it was like just that Twice song.
Oh, what's that? I thought that's Hare Hare. That's it. Yeah.
Hare Hare.
Yeah. But yeah, after this point in the movie, it's not about revenge. The revenge plotline is still there, but it's not really about that. But yeah, the visuals just sort of became much better. There's like a really massive, large-scale war sequence because one of the main plot lines is all these civilians trying to get into the kingdom of heaven, but Claudius's has a bunch of followers and they sort of try to fight them off. It was pretty well animated. It's quite like bloodless, I guess. So like there's these big explosions of people getting blown up by cannons, but they do it in that sort of PG-13 way, but that's all right. I think it's not going for Rambo 4.
Sure.
But yeah,
at least it's large scale.
Yeah, I actually really was back on board after that sequence. It seemed as if the energy, it was just there. It was just more prominent.
Right.
So yeah, no, I actually really enjoyed the movie after that sequence. The tone sort of just changed for me.
Yeah, and then after that, as is par for the course for this kind of anime, it gets a bit weird towards the end, where she does ascend the steps to the kingdom of heaven and confronts her uncle in... Well, first she ends up at a beach with turtles, and then she confronts the uncle in the white void space in front of a door that is locked to him.
Yeah.
And at first he pretends that he's really sorry for his actions, but then he goes full Koji Yakusho.
That's really funny. Just spits in her face.
Yeah. So when she gets to her uncle at the end, she is ready to kill the motherfucker. Like, she's got the sword raised and everything.
Yeah.
But then she starts to feel sorry for him. And then he spits in her face and starts to try to kill her. Then she gets angry again.
Yeah.
And then she forgives him again for some reason.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little bit messy, a little bit clunky, right?
It's clunky. It's not how it would work. Like, he would have just killed her if he wouldn't even spit in her face. Just like knife to the throat. You're
why wouldn't he do that? He poisoned her straight up last time they saw each other. Yeah. Why wouldn't he just stab her?
Yeah.
But yeah, and speaking of which, the Dragon of Convenience comes and lightning bolts him.
Yeah.
That's a thing in this movie. There's a Dragon of Convenience.
Yeah. It's a very well animated dragon. Dragon of Convenience. Yes. It does. Because she's fighting a bunch of guards and it seems like she's about to get killed, but then the Dragon of Convenience comes and maybe that's another thing. Well, people don't like Deus Ex Machinas. It's the character that should solve most of her issues. Like, you spent all this time training, but I guess because she's a woman, she'll never be as strong as a man.
Well, no, I don't think it's that. I think it's because Hijiri's there telling her not to kill people. She can't really finish them off. So you need a Dragon of Convenience to come and lightning bolt them, you know?
Yeah. But why didn't he tell the dragon? He starts yelling at the dragon. Dragon, stop.
You don't have to do this.
He just gets electrocuted.
Yeah.
But what happens? The Dragon of Convenience comes and the dragon is like her dad or something, and he's like, just forgive, man. It's cool. Like, peace and love. And she's like, yeah.
Was the dragon her dad?
I don't remember. I think I'm misremembering it. Because her dad
turned into birds.
Oh, does it turn into birds? Yeah.
It turned into a bunch of birds, yeah.
But anyway, she sort of has a bit of a cry. And then Koji Yakusho comes and he does a bit more overacting. Oh, no, there's a bit where she gets angry again. She's like almost like gouging his eyes out, I think. It's like, oh, fucking hell. Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
I will say that about this movie. There's a lot of voice actors going really ham in this movie. There's a lot of people losing their shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's Koji Yakusho. That's like his fucking.
Yeah, but even
wheelhouse.
Scarlet, even the actress that plays Scarlet, I don't have her name in front of me, but she's going ham
I looked
at a
at
lot
her.
of points.
She's the actress that plays the young Makomori in Pacific Rim, Mana Ashida.
Oh, okay.
I think. Yeah. And I was surprised. She's still in the industry. Good on her. But yeah, no, she goes pretty ham in this.
Yeah.
when she's gouging. And then that's when the king's like, oh, don't do it. Like, let him go. It's like that scene in what was that? What's that Star Wars game? Star Wars.
Yeah. It's the one with Peter Stormare, right?
Force Unleashed, because you're playing like Darth Vader's apprentice, but you have like Palpatine or Darth Vader. No, you have Palpatine. You're about to kill him, and then some guy just comes in and it's like, let him go.
Peter Stormare comes in.
Is it Peter Stormare? That says
I'm pretty sure it's Peter Stormare.
Yeah, but it's just like let him go, and it's like if he had just killed him, then they would have saved a lot of lives.
Yeah,
but that's the morality. You can't break canon.
The problem there was there wasn't a Dragon of Convenience to finish the job for Utami.
True,
that's why that happened. But in Scarlet there is that dragon and he zaps him twice. And then Koji Yakusho takes like a full minute to die, which is pretty good.
That one was just fun to act in the booth. Just watch that. But yeah, he gets killed by the Dragon of Convenience. And then it's convenient that the old woman that's sort of, I guess, the caretaker of the universe or whatever. She
whatever.
She says, actually, one of you is not dead, and it's like,
and you're like, I wonder who it is.
I wonder who it is.
It's obviously Scarlet, right?
It's obvious Scarlet's not dead, and then Hijiri's like, I'm dead, so I'm gonna go now, and she's like, I'm gonna make the world like a beautiful place, and there won't be any more murders, and then you might still be alive. I'm like, I'm sure Hitler is still going to be Hitler, regardless of what
I think just because you make a kingdom in Denmark slightly more peaceful doesn't mean there aren't going to be people running around with knives in the future throughout Tokyo. I don't think the butterfly effect works quite that potently.
It should have been like, I'm free now. Like, Japan is just like, then everyone's just dancing along. That should have been the future. Everyone's just doing a big like World Cup dance.
Because this Denmark kingdom back in the day was slightly more peaceful, mental health is just cured. Like mental health issues, there's no such thing in the future. People just dance their troubles away.
People in Melbourne aren't picking up machetes anymore. It's like, maybe I shouldn't pick up the machete today. I should pick up a pen and paper and make the world a better place.
Yeah.
And do a World Cup dance. But she comes back to life. And this is a bit confusing. I'm not sure if I had read the subtitles fast enough. But so the king was also poisoned. So it seemed as if because she drinks the poison, and it's implied that the poison that was meant for the king was switched back to her is sort of what was implied. But it seems like they just both poisoned each other. so did the king just drink her wine anyway?
Or did it's someone subtitled as the king drank from a cup that was meant for her. So the way I pictured it was that Scarlet drank the poison, collapsed, and then the king was like, boy, all this child killing is making me thirsty. And then he just picked up the nearest cup and he just drank from it and died probably after.
It doesn't, because you would be so on edge. You would drink nothing. I guess it's like, oh, well, I mean,
he was thirsty.
I'm a bit thirsty, but you're also going to be surprised by the idiocy of people as well. So it could actually happen. But so he sort of just drinks the cup and his corpse is just like a wretched face. He's like, There's one really funny character, which is in the form of Scarlet's mum, who clearly doesn't like her. And I love her introduction in the start of the movie because it is just it is Scarlet having a really fantastic time with her dad. And then it's just her mother behind a wall just staring at her. And that's fantastic story. It's just a shot.
That's storytelling. You don't need any dialogue. You just need that face.
So simply. And then she tears up Scarlet's drawing and she's like, that's all you need to know. But when you see her again and the king is dead, she's like, oh,
Scarlet comes back to life.
Why wasn't it you that was poisoned? Why did you have to come back to life? Why not him? And she just goes, oh, and she just starts like wailing. But she just goes off wailing off screen for just a few seconds too long, and it becomes really comical because it's so like over the top. Like,
it's getting fainter and fainter. It's so funny.
My audience, the cinema was laughing at this as well. So it was clearly a collective, like, this is funny. It's like, it was funny. I really enjoyed that. That's it. She spends the rest of her days wailing in despair, like, But then she becomes king, and she's the crowd is like, we're sick of being shit. And are you gonna like treat us like shit? Like Scarlet says, I'm gonna make the world a better place for you guys. Woo! And then maybe Hijiri won't die, but I still have memories of him being a medic, and maybe I can make advancements in the medical field. But I'm just not gonna do that and not worry about any of the things that I saw.
She's just going to be a slightly better ruler than the previous one, which was by all accounts a terrible ruler. It doesn't really quite land that well. What would have brought it back around to me though, Tavi, is if her and all of her subjects just started dancing, just broke out into a dance number. I think that would have brought it back, right?
Yeah. It would have fit in line, with like sort of the tone. I think
just an absurd dance number to end it all.
I think that would have really worked, and just playing that song that she learned, like that modern song from Hijiri.
She's like, this is my song now. This is my intellectual property.
It doesn't really need to make sense, but it would have been fun, and I think it would have drawn it back. I think you're right. But so the ending is a little bit weak. But I don't know, even when Hijiri is sort of turning into dust, and then she said like, oh no, don't like, I'll trade places. It's quite cliche, and it's quite I guess it's pretty like saccharine. But I don't know, I still felt emotional. I was like, oh, like, why do I care about Hijiri? Even though I hated you at the start of the movie. I was getting like a bit emotional. And I think, again, it's just this medium, and it's the art as well. It's just, because it just looks good. So I was just like, it's not the best storytelling, but I'm still within this film's atmosphere.
Yeah, it's manipulative enough to get you, I guess.
And I guess like I don't mind being manipulated because all films
that's
are
why we watch
manipulative.
films.
Yeah. But I think it's just, this is probably Hosoda's most flawed film, like clearly flawed movie.
I mean, I haven't watched all of them, but yeah.
It's the one that I felt the least in touch with. I think Hosoda sometimes has trouble with subplots and sort of keeping focus on a character. It happens in Summer Wars as well. I remember watching Summer Wars where they sort of set up this kid, and he's a pretty cool character, and he's one of those like boy genius characters, but he sort of gets sidelined in the story by someone else, and it's just like, yeah, then he ends up like not really being the protagonist. I think his best film is The Girl That Left Through Time, where it is a singular story and it's all from the perspective of Makoto, is the main character's name.
Yeah.
And that's what's really strong about it, and it's quite simple. And a lot of the sci-fi elements are very underplayed as well. And I think this is just sort of the restraint of story and a budget.
Oh, it might be even like the limitations, of the budget, right? Like you couldn't do as much.
Yeah, that's just such a strong movie. With this one though, I think the issue is just too much going on. But I was just still on board. I think there's still the soul there. You know, obviously this movie is a corporate decision to make this film. But the thing with, I guess, the way that Japanese view their creators is they will fuel a vision because they know that vision draws people to the film. Yeah. That's why they make Makoto Shinkai movies, because people want to watch, or Japanese people want to watch a Makoto Shinkai movie or a Miyazaki movie, you know. That's why there's investors, because they invest in the idea, not the property so much. So it still seems like he had a lot of creative control, but I think he just didn't have time or needed more time to polish the script more, because it's very jagged, but it's still, I still feel like there's something there. Like there are risks, you know? And this is the positive of this movie and Sinners. Yeah, just put in a fucking dance sequence, you know? Just put it in there, and people will really enjoy it, and it ends up being some of the best parts.
I don't have any problem with any of that. I think like the unexplained fantasy elements, that's great. You don't need to explain everything, right? I think it's just too naive for me, and I think it fought with the setup a bit too much. I just want him to do an angry film for once, maybe. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. But
I don't think he's an angry boy, though.
He's not an angry bloke,
I don't think that's Hosoda's wheelhouse. That's a shame, because he set up that revenge really, really well.
Yeah, and the fight scenes are really well animated as well throughout the film. Yeah.
No, stop. Don't hurt him.
Which is fine. It's an important message, I guess. But if you're going to tell that message, I think, like you said, you do need to kind of polish the script a bit more so that it flows better. Otherwise, it does feel very shoehorned in, and it does feel very tokenistic, I guess.
Yeah.
Just be Hayao Miyazaki, that's all. Just do that.
Just be Hayao Miyazaki.
If you will.
Yeah. Just hate everyone, but somehow make really lovely movies.
Yes. Somehow very idealistic movies. Even though...
but very idealistic, but hates everything. Hates his family. Hates anime.
Hates the future.
Hates the West.
Hates AI, certainly.
Yeah.
We love your Hayao Miyazaki.
It's really funny, that clip of him reacting to Hayao Miyazaki. Honestly, what was his staff thinking? This is AI.
They're not doing that again anytime soon. That's for sure. I really love when they compare Hayao Miyazaki with
Junji Ito,
Junji Ito, because Junji Ito is like the other side of the coin. Where
he's like the most chillest guy, loves cats, loves things.
Yeah, his art is so dark and shit and like sadistic, but then he's like into Hello Kitty and he's the most pleasant guy you can be around.
I feel like that's more common than you think, just like horror people actually being very chill.
Yeah, very jovial.
Yeah. Maybe, I'm not sure about Park Chan-wook. I'm not sure if he's jovial. A lot of those Korean directors are very mild-mannered. Like, they're not really into, I guess, they're not talking about
They just seem like normal people.
Yeah, they seem like normal people. I think the more normal you are in appearance, the darker stuff that you make.
Yep. And anyway, that's Scarlet. I don't have that much more to say about you, Tavi.
I think it's worth a watch. I think if you're watching this on a screen at home, you probably might not enjoy it. I think you need to watch this in a theater with maybe an audience that might enjoy the stuff more than your guy did. But
Yeah, visually stunning, beautiful film to watch. Narratively, maybe a little bit juvenile, perhaps.
yeah,
I don't know
think
if it's a
so,
step in the right direction from Belle for him, but hopefully the next one it's a bit better.
But I would check out his other stuff. I think he's
Yeah.
a master. Hosoda is underrated, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. But what did you think of these two movies, Rental Family and Scarlet? Did you enjoy them? Would you like to see more from Mamoru Hosoda? You notice how I avoided saying his name throughout this recording. It's tricky for me to say. But yeah, no, he's pretty good. Let us know. You can get in touch with us at twoasianblokes@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group to be part of the conversation, or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok to see what we're up to. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Don't hurt anyone. But that's true.
worry
Don't
about
hurt
revenge.
anyone. So you should
Yeah.
probably actually listen to Hijiri. As much as I did like his character, his message is an important one because hurting people is wrong.
Yeah, just dance it out,
But
guys.
hurting people in movies is fine. On screen, in a fictional way. Don't actually hurt your actors.
If you live in a country where the throne is being usurped by some mad dictator and everything seems like it's going to shit, just forgive him, man. Don't worry about it. Just forgive him.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe a dragon of convenience will show up and take him out.
Yeah, maybe you can go to America and preach that message, see how well you do.
Yes, that was what I was getting at, Tavi. Yes.
The dragon of convenience. All right, that's
All right,
probably it
guys.
from us.
Take
then,
care of
guys.
yourselves.
Take care.
We'll see you later.
See ya.